So, against my better judgment, I'm going to try to do this unscripted. This is a bit about information. So, against my better judgment, and of course, I got a problem. There we go. Took care of that problem. So, suppose you had billiard balls. And let me see if I can get a different pen here. Try that. Okay, so you had a set of billiard balls here, and you have an input billiard ball here, and you basically, come on, drive it that way and hit these other billiard balls. Then you're going to have some sort of an output over here. Basically, something's going to happen on the other side. So you've got your output and you got your input. Okay. So we have an information system. These billiard balls kind of represent what DNA does. So there's a complex bit of information right here. And this is whatever the environment is, and it inputs, and then you get some sort of an output. Now, if you had a system, let's pretend we had, it's not working. Let's pretend we draw a black box around, maybe I can get a black color, I don't know. We have a black box around the billiard balls on the inside, so we can't really see how they are. But every time we strike those billiard balls with the one from the outside, let's say that the system resets itself back to T0, back to whatever the billiard balls were originally. So no matter how many times something interacts with the billiard balls reset to the initial condition. And if the input is the same, then the output is always going to be the same. So that would be how it reads the information. Okay. So now suppose that we have, let me draw a different color here. So we've got basically our black box, and sometimes this works, sometimes it doesn't. It doesn't work. And we have the input and we have the output. You know, whatever the effect of however the organism is created, or the structure of the organism, or how it interacts with the environment. But now suppose we had a little mechanism where this black box duplicated itself over and over and over again. So we had the ability to duplicate it. And that would be reproduction, where the DNA basically copies itself over and over. And we have, of course, these items would all behave the same. We'd have the same organism, whatever. So now we go down in time quite a ways, and suppose that this black box is very, very slightly different from this black box up here. So we have a mutation, basically. Now we have a different kind of information inside of this box, slightly different than the one above it. So we have added different information. Now, calling it new information, I think it is new information because it's not the same information as was there before. Okay, so now suppose all of our little black boxes are, creating each other. They're reproducing and multiplying like this. And we have something in addition to just our information. If one of these black boxes produces an output that doesn't work out, then it dies. And so now we have something called selection. So we have a selective filter. Okay. So now, as we go down in time, if we run this experiment over and over again, we're going to end up with slightly different kinds of black boxes. Of course, they have different color now. They have the color of my kill switch. So we have a different kind of thing. It's been selected out, and the mutation goes on and on and on. And this is new information in each of these boxes. Not only is it new information, but it has been selected by some interaction with the environment. So there's not just, so part of this input here, the input is going to be things that will kill the black box. And so in that case, you're not going to get an output, but for the ones that survive, you will. So as you go along in time, you're going to end up with new information. And that's basically what DNA does. It accumulates some of the information from the past, okay, due to this selective filter, and creates new information that works in however the environment changes. So that's basically what information is and how it works in DNA. Calling it new information, it almost seems like a subjective thing where we'll decide it's new or it's not new. Hey, Athena, hi. I don't think anybody else has noticed. I did not advertise this, so I guess there are 6 people watching. So anyway, that is how Roederer expresses information. What he calls, now the important thing about the information inside of this black box that we have, and I sure wish my square thing would work. There it is. Okay. The important thing about the information inside of this black box is that there's no real direct connection between the input and the output. So that would be the equivalent of what they call tRNA or transfer RNAs, basically. There's not a perfect mechanism going from the input to the output. And so that's why it's called information. We have to depend on what's inside of the black box. Now, this is still a causal and deterministic system. It's just that because it's a black box, we don't know exactly what's happening inside of it. Of course, with DNA, we've been able to reveal a whole lot of what's going on inside of it. So that is the point. Now, does anybody want to come in here and have a talk? Any of you guys? Should I bother sending an invite to you guys? Let's see. If they get passed on but don't kill the organism, they become fixated over time. Yeah, there's a lot of excuse me. There's a lot of things in here that may not matter. They would be neutral mutations. These are basically like I don't know if you imagine. Try it again. Come on, do it. There you go. Perfect. Okay, so if you have some balls here and balls here, but suppose you had a couple balls out here that mutated. And when the input ball comes in and hits these things don't affect it at all. So they would become neutral mutations. And I don't know if you'd call them deleterious or not, because they really haven't had any effect on the output at all. The organism still survives. But then if now this thing mutates a little bit over here, and now a ball comes in, maybe it bounces off that one. Now that neutral mutation from some past generation, and remember we have duplication here, that neutral mutation is going to have an effect on the output, and that output is either going to be positive or negative. It can either kill that organism or it can promote it. And it's that goddamn simple. This is evolution, and this is how new information happens with mutations being selected. So we have 2 things here. Or 3 things. We have, let me write the first thing first. This is the second thing. The first thing we have is reproduction. This thing copies itself, and it copies itself with some variable fidelity. And then we have mutation, and then we have selection. And if you take these 3 things, you have a self-creating information system if it goes over and over again. Of course, we have this thing called the day star or the sun, which is driving this whole process with energy and building complexity in the future. So complexity is something that builds upon itself, and it keeps getting more and more complex until the sun goes out, of course, and then it's all going to die down and it's all going to become more entropic. So we're living in this like Goldilocks zone of time where life can happen. Yeah, I can give you guys a link. Hang on a second. Mouse is upside down. That can be a problem. So anyway, I will tend to ramble at this point. I just wanted to say that, and I hope that was clear. Is that clear? Guys, hopefully. Do I have to explain anything? I'll have you guys come in. And Immuti. And I'm going to send Nathan an invite, and for the hell of Nestle. Oh, I can add somebody else. I'm still adding, guys. Okay. So I sent you guys an email, a few of you, and I'm not sure who else wants to come in. I haven't read all the chats here. Yeah, this is soon. Too soon. Too soon. Not ready. Yeah, that's the other thing, is that when you look at these generations, you're gonna end up with a mutational tree of little bodies.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning.
How you doing, Speed?
I'm doing pretty good this morning. I'm going to become a grocery bagger. Did you hear about my new career?
Oh, you got a job?
Well, no, I'm going to start applying, and I decided computer programming, genetics, all this bullshit, not for me. I quit. I'm going to become a grocery bagger.
Oh, wait. Are you making a reference to something? I feel like you're making a reference to something.
Making a reference to my conversation yesterday where I decided, fuck it, I quit.
Oh, come on, you can't quit. We need you. You're like one of the shining stars of this community.
I'll be down here at the Cub Foods bagging. No, I guess they don't bag groceries at Cub Foods. I'm gonna have to go to work somewhere else.
No, I mean, in all seriousness, if you do have a job, that's great. I feel like you're referencing something.
No, I'm actually going to have a job, but it's going to be as a senior software engineer, actually. But that's not for a little while yet. I'm still weighing my options. But
yeah, I recently updated my resume to show that I'm back in school to complete my computer science degree. Hire me.
Good.
Oh, I didn't put hire me, but I did. I did update it.
When I interview somebody for a project, if they have a computer science degree, I put a little red check mark right there and deduct from their credibility.
Well, I mean, you and I both know a degree. A degree is just used to get past human resources anyway.
Right. Yeah, that's about it, and that does help. But as far as I haven't been all that impressed with CSI degrees.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, so, say you have somebody who has a degree, right? They get past human resources, they are hired, yet for some reason they don't know the difference between an integer and a float. Did you not go to school for this?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. What's really impressive is if somebody's actually done some work in the field, like created some websites or done something. And that's kind of how you get started in this field. And what I really strongly recommend for computers, people that want to get into computer science, is do contracting. Employers hate that because they have to pay us more. and you don't get benefits. But here's the really important thing about contracting and computer programming. You will build your resume faster than you ever possibly could if you take a full-time job and sit there for five to 10 years. Yeah, your resume is going to be shit. If you contract in 5 years, you can put 7 projects under your belt, and in varied fields. So my sons and I all got into this field by going the contract route. In fact, I had a full-time job once for about 3 weeks, and I got my first paycheck, and I said, "Fuck this," and I quit. I went back to contracting.
And that paycheck is long gone.
Yeah, that was oddly enough. I was working for that company when the what was it? The Challenger blew up or whatever. That that shuttle that blew up. Was that the Challenger? I can't remember. Anyway, that was the only full-time job I've had in 40 years. I've been contracting the whole time. So, and I put down. I think.
Okay, here's the question: is freelance different than contracting, or are they basically the same?
Same thing. I've been involved. I think in about probably 50, maybe 50 projects.
Why the two names? They're just.
Freelance and freelance is kind of like, I don't know, for writers and fucking artists, contracting, computer contract. They call it a contract programmer. Basically.
Oh, okay. So it's basically the same thing. Only you call it differently to distinguish.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
What was the first shuttle that blew up? The one where the teacher got killed. That's when I was working for this agricultural company. I went to work. I don't know. I decided to get a full-time job, and I got a full-time job, and they put me in a really bad chair, and then they fed me fucking. I didn't know this, but they had decaf coffee, and I was getting these horrible headaches.
Did they take your stapler too?
They took my stapler, but the decaf coffee. I mean, if you're addicted to caffeine, you will get horrible headaches if you start drinking nothing but decaf. Yeah, Challenger shuttle. That was the one. So anyway, it's whenever that was my last full-time job. My mom used to tell me, "Mikey, when are you going to get a real job?"
Oh, wait, hold on. She didn't think programming was a real job?
She didn't think contracting was a real job because I didn't work for a company, so she didn't think it was real, even though I made about 4 times as much as anybody with a real job. So.
I mean, I would ask, what is a real job to you, Ma?
So it was 1986. Yeah, that was my full-time job experience. And I remember my wife and I, we got our first paycheck home, and we just sat there and laughed at it. It's like, what the fuck? I don't know.
Hey, do you have time after the stream?
I do.
Cool. I want to talk to you about an idea I just had.
Looks like Immutable's not coming in. Might want to explain. Okay, I got to figure out what Immutable wants to. Might want to explain how changes in topological structure of DNA change the information that can be made expressed. You mean epigenetics, Immutable? I think we could add that,
Also, if you go in the chat, I suggest that he has a talk with you about programming, because yesterday he was saying some weird stuff about programming. I couldn't really get to. So.
Yeah. So Molecular didn't understand his point either. He means chromatin. Oh yeah. Yeah. There's a whole lot more to discuss with this black box model, but do you understand that all of this represents a difference, new information? I mean, if information mutates,
even Cult of Dusty was able to explain that at one point.
Yeah, I just don't see why it's such a problem for a creationist to understand that this is definitely new information. And then you're looking at all these lines here, basically, these different lines, like these are going to have their own sets of mutations, and at some point it's going to be. It's like they
don't understand, that the information gained it's greater than the sum of its parts.
Right, and from here it only becomes necessary to explain to them how few mutations you need to go from a fin to a limb. They think
bacteria to biologist.
Wait,
I'm sorry.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
love
or
standing for Truth's little straw man, or like not even, I don't know, mini straw man. They're just so weird.
oh,
They're just
here's
so
something.
bizarre.
Okay,
Of course, when you put something like that, of course it's absurd. Thanks, Sandy, for making a reductio ad absurdum argument. Go ahead.
yeah. Let me run this by you. Okay, suppose we had a box, a big freezer or cooler or whatever.
I've actually used this, this analogy. Go ahead.
Okay, and inside of this box we put a fish, and then 30 days later we opened the box and we had a fisherman. Okay, and so 30 days later it went from fish to fisherman, and we did this over and over again, and it kept happening. Okay, and so now it's like, okay, either magic happened inside the box or somehow the fish turned into a fisherman. So now what we're going to do is we're going to check the box every day. So every day we're going to open the box and we're going to see what happens. And then we look inside and we see that the fish, grew a limb or whatever. I don't know if you can see this drawing, but the fish grew a little limb.
I'm actually away from the PC, so I'll just take your word for it about the box. But I get the general, I get the general thing, and
Okay.
what one issue with this, I can already see people pointing out, well, what if you open the box every day and the fish is still the same, and what I mean, you do this for all 30 days, and the fish just remains a fish because you opened it.
And
What I
then,
mean? It seems like Schrodinger's fish at this point.
okay, but that's no. Don't go there. Don't go there.
I'm just saying.
Don't fucking go there.
People are gonna point out this.
You're not going to give me this fucking. Is this Schrodinger's fish?
No.
Are you talking about Schrodinger's fish?
Well, hold on, Mike. Speed. I'm
What?
saying, if you were to open the box every day, okay, someone could say, well, you open the box every day, the fish is still the same. You do that for all 30 days, and the fish always remains the same. No matter, the fish remains the same. Basically, if you open it, the only way to turn into a fisherman is if you keep it closed for 30 days. That's basically
okay.
what
When you're doing a thought experiment and somebody comes up with something pedantic like that, do you know what you do? You remove them from the stream.
Oh, come on, don't be like that.
Okay, hang on. Okay, now listen to me. Okay, so now we check every day, and the fish slowly becomes a fisherman, right? So we check every single day, and then we can check every hour, and then we get down to the point where basically we know every step of the way between fish and fishermen, and we tell the creationists this. Do you know what they're going to say next? They're going to say that the fucking fish had created heterozygosity and that God planned it all along. So basically, if we showed them every single step of evolution, this is what they would say to us. Oh, it's just created heterozygosity.
So why even have these arguments in the first place? That they, because it's like, they already have the conclusion in themselves is that God did it. You know what I mean? Even if you were to account, I was actually having this sort of argument, with someone yesterday. It's like, well, he was using the God of the gaps argument with, but he didn't see that he was using it. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Okay. Let's see. I'm just writing a message. Oh, show.
But I've actually, hang on, I may cut out.
Shoe. A shoe.
Who are you telling to shoe? I'm
not
not a shoe.
you. No, I said I wanted to say show and I wrote shoe.
Oh. Well, no, as I was saying, I used the Bucks analogy to explain the concept of a vacuum, where it has no matter and energy, and then say you have a box, right? It's empty, ignoring the air in it, obviously, but it's empty. So say you drop a bunch of Legos in there, these Legos are able to spin, they're able to connect to it. Without the Legos, whatever. There you go. That's basically what a vacuum is. A vacuum has no matter or energy, but the matter and energy can be put in. Some people actually understood that thing in my philosophy class, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Because
Schrodinger's
people have a
cat.
really hard time with the concept of a vacuum. People have a really hard time with the concept of a vacuum, and something coming from nothing. Like this, this one guy I was talking to yesterday mentioned William Lane Craig, and I was like, "Oh wow."
Yeah, the basically the Big Bang here, the something coming from nothing.
Schrodinger fit to pick the. Fuck you.
It's a Big Bang. Does it look like a fish? Look like a fish?
That's funny.
It's my Big Bang. Anyway, right here, there wasn't no fucking time. So there is no before. There is no before because space and time expanded out of that point. I mean, so when they ask you what came before the Big Bang or how did something come from nothing, there was no before. It's one big thing. And you can look at this thing as block time. So this is block time. We have to imagine this is 4 dimensions, basically. There is no fucking before. There is no outside of this thing. So,
I mean, I would argue against. I would argue against that because there have been. Well, hold on. You didn't really let me explain. Or unless you're laughing at immutable.
Go ahead.
There are, there have been theories, they put forth that, that our universe exists in a 5th dimensional black hole. You know what I mean? I've seen the papers of one of them, and the equation, the mathematics behind it was head spinning to say the least. But you know what I mean? That theory does explain where the universe comes from, but it also has the implication of positing that within our own black holes, there may be miniature universes. You know what I mean? I believe Stephen Hawking actually even talked about this.
Right.
He called them baby universes.
Yeah, and these little, like, this could be our universe right here. It could be like a field in this vast infinite universe. It's not
really right to say that there was nothing before the universe.
Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, well, sorry, Scott. I can't speak very well, and these are complicated topics. So,
well, I think Scott broke his own brain. I'm not sure. Logical answer: there's nothing to prevent something from nothing. Yeah, there really is nothing to prevent it, but we don't know what the hell the actual geometry of the universe is. It probably is not a 4-dimensional geometry. It's probably something different. Instead of 4D, now here's something that'll blow your fucking mind. It could be 4D or 10D, or it could be infinite dimensions. It could be infinite D. We don't have any mathematics to deal with that kind of. I
mean, you've never looked at string theory?
Yeah, that was it. Is that the 10 or 11 dimensions of string theory?
String theory is 10, 1 of time and 10 of space.
And which one is 20? Which one is 26? 26?
I'm not. I think it's also string theory. It was at the beginning, but then I don't know. I know you were gonna bring up the 26. I just can't remember, where that's from. Whether it's from I don't remember right now. Yeah. But I think it might have been the original string theory, but then they found out. Oh wait, no, there's only 11.
Yeah, but the thing about dimensions, when they start talking about dimensions in physics, they're talking about properties. So basically different kinds of properties, and it gets a little spooky after that. So I don't know. Anyway, I got a headache, and immutable? Are you being a little bitch? You're not going to come in?
Yes, he's being a little bitch by walking, quote unquote.
Oh, he's walking again.
I don't know, but he, you and him should really have a discussion about programming. That should be fun.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So I'm going to end this. I just wanted to make a comment about information and try to simplify it. And I should have scripted it and should have done a nice PowerPoint presentation. But, that's not the way we roll here. At Production Values are definitely not fucking us studios. That's what I named our production company. Yeah. Anyway, I'm working on the name. Mutable's definitely a little bitch. How about you, Walker?
At
I
least
don't see
hold
you
on.
here. Oh,
Mathematical theory plus observation equals science. At least, well, at least for the hard sciences. Immutable, definitely a little bitch. Yep.
yep. But this is kind of like Walker, because I sent Walker an invite too, and he's not here. So it's like
Well,
pot calling the kettle black.
Walker probably has a life. Immutable, not so much.
Wait a minute, Walker is probably actually walking. we should call Immutable Walker and call Walking Fish. Schrodinger's fish. That's your new name, Walker. Schrodinger's fish.
All right, if you're gonna end.
Yeah, I'm gonna end. Okay, guys, I'm gonna end this one. I want to keep it short. I don't know. I didn't even advertise this one. You guys follow me anyway. What the fuck's going on? Is somebody sending you? Wow, is Google spying on me?
Google always spies on you, don't you know?
God damn. I gotta shut my computer off.
No.
I gotta put my tinfoil hat on.
Not even that.
It's time to get the tinfoil hat out again.
Here's the thing. That's not even tinfoil. If you look into it,
it's aluminum foil.
I said that's not even tinfoil. If you look into it.
Oh.
But yeah, come on, let's end this.
Too deep. Okay, we're ending. We'll see you guys. We're gonna chat a little while. Yeah, it was because I just woke up. You were all talking about the Big Bang and string theory. Okay. We were talking about information, Walker. You got to watch the beginning. I hope I said something valid. Goodbye, guys. I really hope I said something valid.